Hi there everyone, welcome to the second video within my series of videos on Java programming. In this, let's just get this out of the way. In this video tutorial, we're going to be looking at variables, defining variables, performing operations on them, rules that surround variables, what we can and can't do with them, and things like that. So I've already created the project called variables and the class learnvar, as well as the main block, so we can get going straight away. Before we go and do that, just got a couple of things to say. In my previous video, I spoke about getting the finch.jar file. Wasn't very helpful as to where you could get that, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload it to my website, where the link of my website is in the description, www.scholarhall.com. Be sure to check it out. Plenty of revision material on there, from in-depth documents where you can learn in depth on your topics such as automator, data and information, business computing, things like that. So I'm going to make really in-depth notes all the way to flashcards and notes that are only relevant for exams. So do check that out. It's really great for learners and people who just want revision or like. But without further ado, let's get to this. So you've got this right here. And with variables, we're going to need to, the first thing we're going to need to do is declare them and define them. So we have different variable types. If I bring this up for you, here are our variable types. We've got byte, short, int, long, and these types down here. And you can see, like, for example, integer ranges from that terrible value to that terrible value, and long is, I generally use long as it's, there's a bigger range in it. Not that you're ever going to need a range that big, but who knows? So I generally like to use long. You can use int. There's string as well, which this seems to be missing for some reason. Character, Boolean, true and false, double. Double's like more like floating point numbers. So let's begin. So the first thing I definitely say, which is super important, is there's no such thing as over commenting. Heard from someone once that you get marked down for over commenting. I cannot think why that would ever be an issue, unless it makes your code unclear. But comments are so important. It lets you and anyone reading your code know exactly what's going on. So let's say declaring variables. There are two ways of going about this. I'm going to create an integer variable a of value 100. I'm going to go ahead and say int a equals 100. That's the method I prefer to use. It's very, one line and done, but some other people like to break it up, and they're going to create an integer called b of value 200. They do int b, and they know that there's a variable b of the form integer, and they're going to say b equals 200. You could use that as well, whatever really works for you. We can get strings. Get string C. String is effectively like, you could say a bunching of characters, an array of characters. There's so many definitions for it, but if you're going to create a sentence like "Hello world," that's ideal for a string. Never forget your semicolons as well. Really important for syntax. And string. Let's create string D equal to my name is John Doe. So there we have it. We have our different variable types, so we can go on forever with different variables. We could go double. This is double. Double F equal to 3.1415925, whatever. And we could then go ahead and perform operations on them. But before we do that, there is the subject of reserved words that we need to look at first. So, when we're looking at reserved words, there are words that you can't use within operations and declaring variables, variable names, because they serve a purpose within the Java programming. A clear example would be int or public, static, void, class, public, I said public, double. These words are taken, they're reserved words, and they won't work if you try and define them as a variable. So your best bet is to come up with very unique variable names. There's a list of reserved words again on my website. So it's important to stay aware of that. Now we're going to move on to operations. Now operations such as adding, subtracting variables. Again, on my website, there's a whole document as to the different operations you can perform, addition, subtraction. You can do a modular operation where you can then find the remainder after dividing some two variables. That becomes really useful in a later video. But when you're performing operations, there's something great here, which is that you don't only have the ability to add numbers, but you have the ability to combine strings using the same operation. So what we could do is let's just use long for the sake of it. Long x equal to a plus b. And let's print that out to the console. So that's how you do it. Use system.out.println. Fills it in for me, which is really helpful. We don't only just have the ability to do that with integers and longs. So we can go string y is equal to c plus d. Now, if you think about it logically, you can't add sentences, but this is a concept called polymorphism, which means that used in a different context, the addition sign can perform different things. So it's all about the context it's in. So yeah, string y, and we could perform different operations, like we could subtract, we could add, we could multiply, and this multiply is the star sign, divide is the dash, finding that modulo is the percentage, and we can do all these operations. It's on a separate document. You can have a look at that. And let's go ahead and run that, see what happens. There we go. We've got a plus b, 200 plus 100 is 300, and we got hello, my name is John Doe. And I added that space in at the start because Ella won't add that space in for you, so you want to make sure you do that. We could add in our double as well. We can go double, because it's going to be a decimal, you know that. Z is equal to, let's go with a multiplied by f. Let's go divided. Let's go big one, divided by b. You can even add brackets in it to make it more structured. Look at that. And then we can, another one I'd say is definitely copy and paste this. It's going to get so annoying writing this out, the number of times you're going to need to write it out, but make sure to remember to change that. So let's go ahead and run that. And look at that. We've got all of our variables out here. So that's how you go ahead declaring and performing operations on variables. There's going to be exercises that I put up on my website that I'll provide answers for. And all the operations are available there. Practice makes perfect, so get to it, guys. See you in the next video.